For most people, the phrase financial freedom sounds like the ultimate destination. It's the dream sold in books, podcasts, advertisements, and social media posts. The idea is simple and powerful. Work hard, invest wisely, and one day you'll reach a point where money is no longer a concern. You'll wake up without alarms, travel whenever you want, and live life completely on your own terms. It's a vision that feels motivating, almost magical. But what if the entire concept is built on an illusion? What if the version of financial freedom that's constantly promoted is not only unrealistic for most people, but deliberately designed to keep you chasing something that never fully arrives? To understand this, you have to look at how the idea of financial freedom is presented. It's often framed as a finish line, a point where you've accumulated enough wealth that you no longer need to work. Passive income covers your lifestyle. Investments grow quietly in the background, and the stress of earning money disappears. But the first problem is simple. The world doesn't operate on static numbers. The cost of living rises. Inflation quietly erodes purchasing power. Markets fluctuate, and unexpected events happen. What felt like enough money 10 years ago might not feel like enough today. The finish line keeps moving. Think about how many people reach milestones they once believed would bring security, only to realize the feeling is temporary. Someone earns their first six-figure salary and assumes life will finally feel stable. But soon, expenses rise to match the income. Lifestyle expands. New expectations form. Suddenly, the same salary that once felt like a dream feels barely comfortable. This phenomenon has a name: lifestyle inflation. But it's not just about spending habits. It's about how the system encourages you to constantly upgrade your life in ways that make true independence harder, not easier. The modern economy thrives on continuous consumption. Every industry depends on people buying more, upgrading more, and replacing things more frequently. Cars are leased instead of owned. Phones are upgraded every 2 years. Streaming services replace physical media, but multiply into dozens of monthly subscriptions. Even housing, one of the biggest expenses people face, has transformed from a long-term investment into a constantly rising financial burden in many places. The more you participate in this cycle, the more difficult it becomes to step outside of it. Financial freedom, as it's marketed, often ignores this reality. Instead, it focuses on personal discipline. Save more, invest more. Hustle harder, wake up earlier, build side incomes. Optimize every dollar. While these habits can absolutely improve someone's financial situation, the message subtly shifts responsibility entirely onto the individual. If you don't achieve financial freedom, it's implied that you didn't work hard enough or plan well enough. The broader economic forces shaping your life are rarely part of the conversation. But those forces matter. In many economies, wages have struggled to keep up with the rising cost of housing, education, and healthcare. Productivity has increased dramatically over the past several decades, yet the benefits of that productivity have not been evenly distributed. A significant portion of new wealth flows upward, concentrating among those who already hold large amounts of capital. For the average worker, this means the path to financial independence becomes steeper over time, not easier. At the same time, the culture surrounding financial freedom often creates unrealistic expectations. Social media plays a huge role in this. Platforms are filled with stories of people retiring in their 30s, building massive passive income streams, or escaping the traditional work system entirely. These stories are powerful because they tap into a universal desire, the desire for control over one's time. But what's rarely highlighted is how rare these outcomes actually are, or the unique circumstances that made them possible. Some people achieve early financial independence through extremely high incomes in specialized industries. Others benefit from being early investors in fast-growing markets. Some receive financial help from family, inherit assets, or live in environments where the cost of living is unusually low compared to their earnings. None of these factors make their achievements invalid, but they do make the narrative incomplete when presented as something as highly replicable for everyone. Another important piece of the puzzle is the idea of passive income. Passive income is often described as money that flows in without ongoing effort. Rental properties, dividends, digital products, automated businesses. These are frequently presented as the keys to escaping the traditional work model. In reality, Most forms of passive income require either significant upfront capital, ongoing management, or both. Rental properties involve maintenance, tenant management, and financial risk. Investments fluctuate and can decline dramatically during market downturns. Businesses, even automated ones, require oversight. The term passive can be misleading because it suggests effort disappears completely. In most cases, what actually happens is that effort shifts from one form to another. Instead of trading time for a paycheck, you might trade time for managing assets or monitoring investments. For some people, this is a desirable shift. But it's not the effortless, carefree lifestyle that many financial freedom narratives imply. There's also a deeper psychological dimension to this idea. Humans are remarkably adaptable. When our circumstances improve, our expectations often adjust quickly. This means the feeling of enough can be surprisingly elusive. Someone might believe that reaching a certain net worth will finally create peace of mind. But once that goal is reached, a new benchmark appears. Instead of feeling secure, they start worrying about maintaining their wealth, protecting it from inflation, or growing it further to keep up with peers. In other words, the pursuit of financial freedom can become a treadmill. The target keeps moving, and the satisfaction that was supposed to come from reaching it remains just out of reach. Ironically, this can create a form of financial anxiety even among people who are objectively well off. Another reason the promise of financial freedom can be misleading is that it frames freedom purely in financial terms. Money certainly provides options, and having enough of it can reduce many forms of stress. But money alone does not guarantee fulfillment, purpose, or happiness. There are countless examples of individuals who accumulate significant wealth yet feel deeply unsatisfied with their lives. True freedom often has more to do with control over time, meaningful relationships, and the ability to pursue activities that feel worthwhile. Money can support these things, but it cannot replace them. When financial freedom is presented as the ultimate solution to life's challenges, it risks oversimplifying what people actually need to feel fulfilled. It's also worth examining who benefits from promoting the idea of financial freedom. Entire industries have formed around selling this dream. Courses promise to teach the secrets of building passive income. Books outline step-by-step systems for retiring early. Influencers monetize content about escaping the rat race. In many cases, the people selling these strategies generate a significant portion of their income, not from the strategies themselves, but from teaching others about them. This doesn't mean every educator or content creator is dishonest. Many genuinely want to help others improve their financial situations, but it does highlight a structural incentive. The dream of financial freedom is extremely marketable. The more people believe it's attainable with the right system or strategy, the more valuable that system becomes. There's also a cultural narrative at play. In many societies, particularly those influenced by entrepreneurial ideals, independence is highly valued. The idea of working for someone else is often framed as limiting or undesirable. Financial freedom promises an escape from that structure. It suggests that if you accumulate enough wealth, you can finally answer only to yourself. But complete independence is rare. Even people with significant wealth remain connected to economic systems. Investments depend on markets. Businesses depend on customers and employees. Real estate depends on tenants and property values. The idea of being entirely detached from the economic web is largely theoretical. So if financial freedom, as it's commonly presented, is misleading, what does that mean for the average person trying to build a stable life? It doesn't mean that saving, investing, or improving financial literacy is pointless. In fact, those things are incredibly valuable. Understanding how money works can provide more stability, reduces stress, and open up opportunities that might otherwise remain inaccessible. The key difference is shifting the goal. Instead of chasing an idealized version of financial freedom where work disappears and money flows endlessly, it can be more realistic to focus on financial resilience. Financial resilience means having enough stability to handle unexpected challenges without everything collapsing. It means building savings, reducing unnecessary debt, and creating options for yourself over time. Resilience is less glamorous than the idea of early retirement on a tropical beach. It doesn't generate flashy social media posts or viral success stories, but it is far more attainable and far more relevant to everyday life. A person with emergency savings manageable expenses, and diversified income sources may not consider themselves financially free, but they often experience significantly less stress than someone constantly chasing the next milestone. Another useful perspective is redefining freedom itself. Instead of seeing it as the complete absence of financial obligations, it can be seen as the ability to make meaningful choices. This might mean having enough savings to leave a toxic job, enough flexibility to spend time with family, or enough stability to pursue a passion project without immediate financial pressure. These forms of freedom are incremental rather than absolute. They grow gradually as financial stability improves. And importantly, they don't require reaching an unrealistic finish line. It's also important to recognize that financial well-being is deeply connected to community and social structures. No individual operates entirely in isolation. Public infrastructure, healthcare systems, education opportunities, and labor markets all shape the financial outcomes people experience. When discussions about financial freedom ignore these broader factors, they risk placing unrealistic expectations on individuals while overlooking systemic challenges. Consider housing, one of the most significant financial pressures people face. In many cities, property prices have risen dramatically compared to average incomes. This means even financially disciplined individuals can struggle to achieve milestones that were once considered normal. Like owning a home, the issue isn't always poor planning or lack of effort. Sometimes it's simply the result of structural changes in the economy. Similarly, student debt has become a major financial burden for millions of people worldwide. Education is often framed as an investment in future earning potential, but the rising cost of that investment can delay other financial goals for years or even decades. Again, this reality complicates the narrative that financial freedom is purely a matter of personal choices. Understanding these dynamics doesn't mean adopting a defeatist attitude. It means recognizing that financial outcomes are shaped by both individual actions and broader economic forces. A balanced perspective allows people to make smarter decisions without falling into the trap of believing that every financial challenge is a personal failure. Another overlooked aspect of the financial freedom narrative is the role of time. Many strategies promoted in personal finance require long investment horizons. Compound interest, for example, works best over decades. This means the path to financial stability often involves patience and consistency rather than rapid transformation. But patience doesn't sell nearly as well as promises of quick success. The result is a culture where people constantly search for shortcuts, high-risk investments, speculative trends, or business models that promise explosive returns. Sometimes these opportunities work out, but more often they introduce significant risk. Chasing financial freedom too aggressively can actually undermine long-term stability. A healthier approach might involve shifting the focus from maximizing wealth to optimizing life satisfaction. This doesn't mean ignoring financial planning. It means recognizing that money is a tool rather than an end goal. The purpose of financial stability is to support a life that feels meaningful, not to create an endless accumulation of assets. When viewed through this lens, the question changes. Instead of asking, "How can I achieve complete financial freedom?" it becomes, "How can I design a life where money supports what matters most?" For some people, that might involve building a flexible career rather than retiring early. For others, it might mean prioritizing work-life balance over maximum income. In Money Will Ask, the myth of financial freedom persists because it simplifies a complex reality. It offers a clear destination and a straightforward narrative. Follow these steps, reach this number, and everything will be fine. But real life rarely works that way. Financial stability is an ongoing process, influenced by changing circumstances, evolving priorities, and unpredictable events. Ironically, recognizing the illusion can be liberating. When you stop chasing a perfect version of financial freedom, you can focus on building something more practical and sustainable. You can make financial decisions based on your actual needs and values rather than an abstract ideal. You might still invest, save, and plan for the future. But the motivation shifts. Instead of trying to escape the system entirely, you aim to navigate it more effectively. Instead of waiting for a distant day when life finally begins, you look for ways to improve your quality of life in the present. In the end, financial freedom as a universal promise may be one of the most powerful marketing narratives of the modern era. It captures a deep human desire for security, autonomy, and peace of mind. But when examined closely, the idea often turns out to be more complicated than the slogan suggests. The truth is that freedom rarely comes from a single financial milestone. It emerges from a combination of stability, flexibility, and perspective. It grows from understanding how money works, making thoughtful decisions, and resisting the pressure to constantly chase bigger numbers. And perhaps the most important realization is this: the moment you stop believing that a perfect financial future will solve everything is the moment you start building a more realistic and meaningful relationship with money.